Welcome to the Vanilla to Vixen podcast. This show contains adult content, so if you are under 18 or easily offended, please switch off now. Mr. and Mrs. N are not qualified relationship counsellors. This show is for entertainment purposes only. Now the disclaimer is out of the way. Sit back, relax, and enjoy our journey from Vanilla to Vixen.
Welcome to episode 147 of Vanilla to Vixen. We are your hosts, Mr. and Mrs. N, and we're also sometimes known as...
the Naughty Couple.
Hello, Mrs. N.
Hello, Mr. N.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 147. We have an open house today.
I'm raging.
Oh, no, she started already.
I feel all knotted up inside.
Yes, there is another episode of Mrs. N's least favourite television programme, Open House. And we'll be talking about that in a little while and talking about, well, the swinging lifestyle in general. But meanwhile, a young woman buys a mirror at an antique shop from a gypsy. And she decides to hang it on the door. And the gypsy said it's a very special mirror, but you can only use it twice. And then it will never work again.
Yeah.
I know. So while getting undressed, she playfully says to the mirror, "Mirror, mirror on the door, make my bust a size 44. And instantly there's a brilliant flash of light and her breasts grow to an enormous proportion.
Mad woman.
Excitedly, she runs to tell her husband what's happened. And he's delighted with this, as you can just imagine. So he waits for her to go downstairs. And he thinks to himself, oh, I'm going to have a go. I'm going to use the second go of the mirror. So he goes, "Mirror, mirror on the door, make my penis touch the floor." Again, there's a big flash of light. And his legs fell off. So there you go.
Careful what you wish for.
Exactly. Make sure you ask the mirror exactly what you want.
It's our anniversary this week, my dear.
I know. We've been married for 19 years.
I know. Can you believe it?
And did you know, Mrs. N, that 19 years of marriage in anniversary in the UK is celebrated as a bronze wedding anniversary?
Ah.
Did you know that?
I didn't know that, actually.
So here you go. Here's 2 pence. 2 pence piece.
That doesn't work. That's copper.
Oh, shit. I got that wrong. Oh, damn. Never mind. Oh, well.
Thought you were going to give me, like, your swimming badge. Do you remember the swimming badges you
bronze.
used to get?
Yes.
There was bronze and silver and gold.
If you come second or third, if you come third on swinging event, that means something completely different.
This is true. Oh, well. Talking of events.
Yes, we've got quite a few events coming up. If you go onto our brand new website, v2v.uk, that's v2v.uk, that's our brand new events website, you will notice this week we've got a couple of brand new dates added.
We have.
There's always dates added on the events diary. And July the 4th, which is a Friday, and July the 5th, which is a Saturday.
Funnily enough,
we are back in Worcestershire.
We are. We've got another hotel takeover.
We have got the whole hotel in Bewdley, Worcestershire for Friday and Saturday. A whole naughty weekend. It's going to be unbelievable.
It's going to be awesome.
So, if you're a single guy, you are welcome on Friday. We're going to have 2 parties. Friday starts at 8 o'clock. Saturday, same time, 8 o'clock. Saturday is going to be mainly for couples and single ladies. And Fridays, we've got single guys, single ladies and couples.
Yes.
If you're a couple or a single lady, you can come for the Friday and the Saturday. If you're a single guy, it is just the Friday.
We have had people that have done the whole weekend, haven't they?
Yes.
And you can make a full weekend of it.
We did it.
We did do it.
Obviously.
Obviously.
We were about dead by the Saturday.
But there's so much to do around there, isn't there?
Bewdley's amazing.
It is.
And we went into an antique shop.
We did.
And I spotted a potential outfit for a future V2B.
Oh, no. Here we go again. I think we did also mention about the penis lamp, didn't we?
There was an enormous penis
lamp. It was
lamp.
enormous, yes, which we were very childish over and had a bit of a titter.
Yes, there was an enormous penis lamp in the antique shop in Bewdley. It was
apparently
marvellous.
They're very popular, according to the owner.
I think the owner knew what we were up to. I think she did. Yeah, she knew where we were from.
She knew. But yeah, you can spend the entire weekend in Bewdley. There's so much to do around there, and it's so pretty.
Absolutely. This is strictly guest list only.
It is.
Due to the nature of the venue, it's a beautiful hotel. It's not the largest venue in the world, so it's ideal really because it's more intimate, isn't it?
It is, and we love that.
We get to know people.
We get to spend more time with you guys.
Exactly. So you can stay at the hotel. You can book directly. If you send us a message on Fab Swingers, which is Naughty Couple, NAUGHTYCP1 is how you spell it, Naughty Couple. You can send us a message and we will tell you how you can book directly at the hotel. If you want to get in touch with us to get on the guest list, send us a message on Fab Swingers or email us. We are Naughty Couple, spelled NAUGHTYCP1 @yahoo.com. And it's nothing like open house, so don't worry about it.
It isn't. And there's something I just want to mention. The last weekend that we did, as we were packing up on the Saturday night, it was early hours of the Sunday morning, we could hear the lions.
We could.
Didn't we?
Yes, we heard them all. And you said, that's the lions. And I'm like, nah.
I know. You were like, they've not got any lions at West Midlands Safari Park. Well, they do.
I thought they'd just got tigers.
They do, and they were calling at 2 o'clock in the morning.
It was pretty cool.
Oh, it was so cool. And that's how close you are to West Midlands Safari Park.
I thought you were going to say that's how close you are to the wildlife. Meaning the guest list.
Well, you could be.
They can be pretty wild.
What else have we got on, Mr. N?
So, June 14th.
Next week.
Next week is the big Vanilla to Vixen party. It's Vanilla to Vixen sweet treats. The guest list is massive.
I'm going to have to buy extra cakes and things.
I know. It's going to be good.
It is going to be good.
It's going to be good. And July the 11th, we are at Liberty Elite for Vegas Vixens.
Yay.
And then it's another big party.
It is.
We are at the Purple Mamba Club.
Oh, my God. I can't wait.
Purple Mamba Club, July the 25th.
Yes.
That is going to be a special one.
It's a 70s night.
We are jumping into our time machine. We're going back to the 1970s. Picture this. A time when there was pampas grass and pineapples everywhere. Swingers were in flares. And there was more bush than Gardener's World. I want everyone growing bush for the 1970s party. It's going to be rock and roll.
It is going to be rock and roll. We have a very, very busy July coming up, but it's going to be awesome.
June and July, come and see us. If you've never been to Vanilla to Vixen, come and see us. July 25th, that's going to be a really cool party.
It is.
And even if you're a single guy, single lady, you could come and see us at the Hotel Takeover. It is the ultimate social experience. There is nothing like it. You can't describe it. You don't have to strip off and get down to your underpants and vest like you forgot your PE kit back in school.
Unless you want to, obviously.
You can if you want to, I don't mind. But you don't have to. You could just come along and it is the most amazing social experience. And that's all you have to do. You don't have to do anything else. Come along, meet us and just have a giggle. It's going to be amazing.
Exactly. And if you're lucky enough, you get to join in our naughty charades game.
Yes, absolutely.
Seems to become a bit of a thing, hasn't it?
Yeah, naughty charades. It's definitely a naughty one.
So make sure you get in contact with us, guys. Get your names on the guest lists.
Now, we've received a couple of messages again this week. It seems to be everybody's favourite hobby is now looking for properties for potential swinging clubs for V2V.
Ah.
So our first message is from Metal Mickey on Fab. Metal Mickey, and they say, Mr. N's quest for a swingers cruise boat. Yes, it is a little out of your area, but wouldn't require the on-board check, which is good. Okay. There's a boat on the Duke of Lancaster in North Wales that was beached deliberately to be turned into a leisure centre. Well, we do like exercise, don't we? Or sexercise, as we call it. A leisure centre, restaurant, or a nightclub. So there you go, make an ideal swingers club, you see. This would make a unique club. Also, given the size of it, I'm sure Park could be converted into a prison. Oh, double whammy. I've got to win with that one. So you have both in the same place. Keep up the fantastic work with the show. A good few months ago, I finally got to attend Libs with a good friend who I have been introducing to this naughty hobby. We're absolutely blown away with how nice it is, and having been makes your show even more enjoyable. And that's Metal Mickey on Fab. Thank you both for that. That's lovely.
So before we go into the meat of the show, as Mr. N likes to call it.
Absolutely, the rump.
We're going for the rump, are we?
The rump of the show, yes.
It's that part of the show that I absolutely love because it makes you squirm.
Makes me feel a bit queasy.
This one's going to make you feel queasy, Mr. N.
Oh, no.
It's the wonderful Mrs. Mother Trucker with Fun Fact Friday.
Fun Fact Friday.
The most common cause of penile rupture is vigorous masturbation. So if that happens, you're doing it wrong.
Oh my God.
Are you all right? You've gone a bit pale.
I've crossed my legs. That's what I've done. Goodness me. Where does she find these things?
I don't know. You'll have to ask her.
God blimey. The most common cause of rupturing is masturbate.
It's too rough.
What are you using? One of those claws from like the teddy machines and Jesus, man.
Oh dear.
Are you like a Bond villain with a hook on your arm?
Oh, steady on.
Blimey.
Got all the male listeners like crunched up in a corner now.
Unbelievable. And now on to the meat of the show, the rump, as we call it. We are talking about this week the Open House programme, which is back on Channel 4, if you didn't know.
Yes, they've got a new series.
It's been on now for about, 3 or 4 weeks, halfway through, something like that.
Yeah.
You've been watching it, Mrs. N.
I have.
Purely for work-related purposes.
I was doing some research, shall we say.
We did get sent a message.
Yeah.
And saying, have you watched it and what did you think? Do you think it's got any better?
No.
They've got a new sex expert.
There's a new sex expert. I think it's a new venue as well, isn't it?
It's definitely a new venue.
Definitely a new venue, which is beautiful, I have to say. The venue itself looks amazing. The new expert, which, I'm withholding judgment on that one at the minute.
Now, talking of beautiful houses,
yes,
just going off topic of Open House for a little while, but it all kind of fits in, so you'll see why. Swinging has made it into the Spectator newspaper.
No way.
The ultra posh right-wing Spectator newspaper.
We've got something in common.
You have been front page of the Spectator.
I have been front page of the Spectator.
But we won't go into that. Yes, Mrs. N was on front page of Spectator once, but we won't go into that story. We'll go into this one instead. Is there any intrinsic problem with sex parties? Asks the Spectator. Of course not, at least not for those of us who believe in a liberal way of living and letting live. This tenet, you see, I like the Spectator, this tenet, they use posh words that no one really understands, has been put to the test by recent events at Bel Air House, a Georgian pile in subdued Dulwich.
Oh, they've bigged that up well, haven't they?
A Georgian pile. I suppose it's one. Why don't they just call it a Georgian, manor house or whatever? Georgian, I don't know. Anyway, hired last month by the company called Heaven Circle. We've not spoken to Heaven Circle.
No.
We need to speak to them.
We do.
Which puts on naughty events, a bit like V2V, including online parties. You can join with face blurred or wearing a mask. The event at Bel Air House was very much offline, with 2,000 condoms provided.
Wow.
Only a small party then. I like V2V. A naked fire show plus 500 candles.
Wow, okay.
That'd be like Ronnie Corbett. Can I have
4 candles? Be careful where you put your wick.
500 candles, 500 roses, 2 DJs, the big bed, it says in capital letters,
right?
3 playrooms, 5 performers, a shibari artist, and 1 dom.
Just the one?
Just 1 dom. And 60 toys, according to the company's Instagram posts. Shibari is the Japanese art of knot tying. We already knew that.
Yeah, we know that.
Many neighbours, unsurprisingly, were appalled by Bel Air House. A pleasing 6-minute stroll from Nigel Farage's Dulwich College.
What's that got to do with that?
just in the middle of the spectators. Oh, and by the way, Nigel Farage's college is up the road, 6 minutes. Just random shit. You see, this is the press. But at least I think the spectators being quite fair. Okay. It says, Dulwich College is more usually used for children's parties and weddings. Oh.
Yeah.
So they're mixing the dark side with the light side. That's quite interesting. It's quite interesting. The East Dulwich Forum, an online message board, rippled with rage. I love that. The whole of Dulwich rippled with rage. If there's anyone living in Dulwich, tell us if you were really pissed off. I really want to know now. It says, Dulwich Council was bombarded with complaints. I've noticed these sex events happening in the last few months at a place that's supposed to be a restaurant and venue, snapped a resident called Michelle.
Oh dear.
I was planning my wedding there and I was appalled by the setup for those events. When I discovered what was going on, I was disgusted by how they were using the same rooms as playrooms where families are supposed to eat.
Okay.
Surely not at the same time.
Not at the same time, no.
Otherwise, you could pick a condom up thinking...
Oh, no, don't
thinking
even...
it's a sweet or something.
No, we're not going there.
This bubble gum's a bit chewy.
Oh, stop it.
I was appalled by the setup of those events. And she goes on to say... basically, how a family's supposed to eat, the hygiene, safety concerns are unacceptable, etc., etc. But the spectators actually been quite defensive.
Okay.
And saying that in this modern day and age of LGBTQ plus blah, 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 how many letters are in it today, who actually stands up for the swingers?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's no more different to... other things. And I mean, the argument of saying that, it's a family room, which is used for weddings and vanilla events, you could say the same argument is for a hotel room.
Yeah.
The hotel room could be used for absolute mad, passionate sex, and then could be used for a family room the following few days.
Yeah, exactly.
It
does frustrate me when they always go, how disgusted they are, and it's like, as hobbyists, we're very hygienically clean people.
Yeah,
we look after ourselves, and we don't go around spreading diseases and germs and things.
I actually think swingers are more hygienic than anyone else. Because,
I totally agree.
Because we're used to being naked in front of other people. You don't want to be caught, with your big 70s bush. Unless you're on July the 25th at Purple Mamba. I'm going to have a quick look. Nearest swingers club to Dulwich. I'm actually looking at this right now.
You're Googling that,
on
are
the
you?
internet, yeah. It's East London, isn't it? I think it's the Hellfire Club.
Is it?
You're only 100 miles from Liberty Elite.
You're only down the road from Nigel Farage. What more do you want?
Exactly. So there you go. That's kind of going a little bit off topic.
No, not really, because if you think about it, the naughty hobby is actually becoming more, what's the word I'm looking for, Mr. N?
Socially acceptable.
Yeah, and people are talking about it more.
Yeah, it's definitely...
Which is really good.
It's more mainstream.
It is, isn't it?
But obviously not all the way in Dulwich.
Not in Dulwich, obviously.
And this brings us on to obviously beautiful venues and everything, etc., to Open House.
Yes.
Which is a beautiful venue.
It is.
And that too has been in the media this week. Now, you might recognise this couple. They are Lily Jones and her partner, Joe Turner.
Yeah.
Do you recognise those?
I do recognise them.
From the photos?
I do.
And they are resident swinging couple on Channel 4's Open House. So I've taken this little clip of news from the Cambridge News.
Okay.
Cambridge Live.
Oh, right.
It's right cutting edge up there with...
We're like a current affairs programme today.
We are. Well, obviously, there's been a lot in the media about swinging this week. So, why not obviously cover all what's happening? And they basically said they originally applied to be on the show after a heavy night out, apparently.
Okay.
They've said that 10 times more sex happens off camera than actually on camera, says Lily Jones, 33, and her partner Joe Turner, 30, as they feature on Channel 4's Open House, The Great Sex Experiment. The show, which is currently airing, sees previously monogamous couples explore open relationships and sex with others. Engaged Lily and Joe are part of the group of residents who are experienced in non-monogamous activities and help introduce it to newcomers on the show. And that's a little bit what you've got issues with, isn't it, Mrs. A?
It is. I would just like to point out, this is just my opinion, okay?
Yeah.
And I'm very sensitive about the naughty hobby. It means a lot. And I care about it hugely.
Yeah.
So I find it very difficult when I see it being portrayed as something other than what I have experienced.
So if you've lived on the moon and never watched an episode of Open House, they take literally a brand new couple that's meant to know nothing about the naughty hobby.
No.
I call a little bit of bullshit on some of that. I think some of the couples are far more experienced than...
Possibly, yeah.
Than they proclaim, but who knows? It's only my opinion. But they supposedly take brand new couples, total newbies, and then introduce them to a group of residents.
Yeah.
And the residents are really some of them quite well known in the naughty hobby, like Gage and Vista Wife.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are on there. Beautiful couple who we've seen at Liberty Elite. Lovely people. They've got, they run Swing Hub.
Yes.
Fantastic app. And they contribute massive amount to the swinging community.
They do.
Good couple.
Yes.
So I have no issues with who is on the show.
No, not at all.
And at the end of the day, if they're making a few quid out of it, good on them.
Yeah, that's what it's for. At the end of the day, you also have to remember that it's an entertainment programme. So I do obviously appreciate that it is probably hyped up a little bit more than what we understand the naughty hobby to be.
Yeah.
Which is why I say this is just my opinion.
So what is it about the format of the show that you have the biggest issue with?
I think it's basically what you've just said. It's newbies. So they take newbies that have not experimented in any way, shape or form. Allegedly. So, for example, first episode of the new series, so series 3, there are 2 couples on there.
Yeah.
One is a couple, they're not married, they're just boyfriend and girlfriend. They've been together quite a while. And all they say is that they've had trust issues.
Okay.
So they go and see the expert or whatever you call her. So
my first thing is, if a couple have had trust issues, that would be like a little red flag waving.
Exactly.
And my first thing to them would be, right, okay, if you've got chinks in your relationship, this lifestyle will literally rip them apart and open them right up. And I think most people who are well experienced in the naughty hobby, shall we say, would agree and say the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So they go along to the open house. They meet the sex expert, or whatever you want to call her. Obviously, they've explained that they've had trust issues in the past. Mm-hmm. And the expert decides to send them off separately.
Within the party?
Within the party.
And are any boundaries discussed?
Nope. None at all. So obviously...
So she doesn't suggest to them to suggest boundaries or anything like that?
No, basically it was for him to go off separate to her in their own social side and basically have fun, is what was said.
And this isn't a typical club or party atmosphere, because we've got to remember that everyone else in that house is a resident.
Yes.
So in other words, is a very well-established person who probably, there are even some professionals in there who make money out of the swinging hobby.
Yeah.
You could argue like we do.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Okay. So that's an interesting... It's an interesting formula, isn't it? When you look at it like that, that is so concocted that there really isn't. There's not going to be a spontaneous conclusion to those events, is there?
No.
You've got a couple who are brand new. They're the only brand new couple in there, and you're putting them in with people who presumably go on the television for exposure within the naughty hobby, like we've mentioned.
Yeah.
Who I've got no issues with sort of going on television for exposure.
No, not at all.
That's really cool. But for the viewer watching, it's portrayed as almost a documentary-esque program.
Yes, it is. That's exactly what it is. And that's how it is described as a documentary. I mean, the evening went on where they both got dressed up. He went off, he got collected by one of the females who was absolutely stunning, and taken off to, it was like a little camp area. There was like a fire pit, and he was surrounded by 9 women. Pretty
much what happens when you're a single guy at a club.
Exactly. Really. You wish. You wish.
All single guys, stop dialing on your phone trying to get into the next party. It doesn't happen like that. Any single guy who's established in the naughty hobby will tell you, like the fantastic single guy we had on last week, it's harder for single guys.
It is.
And the successful single guys it will take a while for them to establish their good reputations. But you won't be inundated with Bond girls around you.
No.
As a single guy.
Exactly.
So again, this is where it is, I suppose, just purely an experiment, isn't it?
It is.
It's not a portrayal really of the swinging lifestyle at all.
No. And it cuts back, and then that's the thing. So you see him go off with this stunning lady, meeting 8 other stunning women sitting round a fire pit, and then they get chatting, and then the games start to play, and there's lap dancing going on, there's lots of kissing going on and all this. And then it cuts back to his girlfriend, who's left in the room just waiting. Then she gets collected by a single gentleman, and she's taken off to like a cocktail bar.
So as a viewer watching, at that point you're seeing the way that's edited. I mean, obviously that that's probably happening concurrently.
Yes.
But what is your emotion as a woman watching I was going to say single woman, she's not a single woman, obviously she's half the couple, but what's your emotion watching that?
Awful. Honestly, and I think this is why I get so emotional about this programme, because what you see is her left there obviously thinking, okay, he's just gone off with this stunning woman, I have no idea what's going to happen. I put myself in her shoes. And if we'd have done that when we first got into the hobby, I couldn't have done it, if in all honesty, because I would have said, I can't cope with the thought of you just going off and not knowing what's going on.
I mean, presumably they must have talked about things they want to do, but I guess there's no mention of that. There's no mention of dynamics.
And this is the thing and the issue that I have with the programme, because those parts are important. It's important to see what actually, the honesty of it, and they miss those bits out, and I find it incredibly frustrating.
All you know is, and again, it's portrayed as, this is a couple, they have trust issues. They're broken. They have a problem.
Yeah.
It's almost like an X Factor thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where, if we go back to X Factor, everybody knows I've been in entertainment music. And on X Factor, Simon Cowell, brings on this person who's usually in ragged jeans. They sing like a canary beautifully, and then he turns them into a pop star.
Yeah.
And so but they've got to be broken first, because the real stars of the show are the Simon Cowells, and I guess you could say that the sex experts. And do they call them sex experts?
I can't remember what actually they do call them.
But they are, And the other thing,
I don't know whether they're like a sex therapist or a.
The thing is, as well, I actually think it portrays a sex therapist or someone of that nature as someone that then can solve everything. Obviously, I mean, I've not watched this series, but I have watched the previous series.
Yeah.
And you see the couples go in there with problems, and then it's all hunky-dory by the end of the show, because it's okay. They go and sit back down with a sex therapist who tells them where they went wrong. A few simple sorting out. Now I want you to go away and sit and snog in bed and do different things and do these silly things, and then you'll be back to normal.
Yeah.
And that is bullshit, because...
Well, there was a clip where they were obviously interviewing the girl, and in that clip, she openly admitted, "I don't know how I would feel seeing him kiss another woman." Now, I don't know whether she'd already had that conversation with him.
And bear in mind, she would have said this to the producers before the show as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
As you know, before any television programme, you are extensively interviewed, probably, one would have thought in this day and age, probably had various tests on your mental health and things.
Yeah.
Before, if it's a reasonably responsible show, who knows?
Yeah. And obviously, as the evening goes on, he then goes into one of these, is it called a yurt?
A yurt?
A yurt. With said 9 girls. And they're all sitting on the bed, and it's all like quite flirty and everything else.
I'm just expecting the James Bond music to play.
The girl, bless her, who went to the cocktail party, which was girls and boys, so she wasn't in the same type of environment. She wasn't just in a small, intimate setting with single guys. She was in like a cocktail lounge sort of area with women and guys.
But again, don't you think that is very carefully portrayed and very carefully presented? Because if you put a single woman in a party of, say, 9 or 10 guys, they would probably feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So mixing it up and putting a woman with other women and single guys, that almost makes it a sexual environment then, because you've got single girls who will also flirt with the single guys, so therefore it will make the woman feel more comfortable. Whereas if you put a guy with just 9 women in female, that's just how I'm reading it. If you put a single guy with 9 women, and I'm guessing, I've not watched the show, but I'm guessing the women were like, not exactly pushing him away and going, "No, I'm not really interested in you."
No, absolutely.
No. So therefore, you are literally putting a guy in a fantasy situation.
It was almost, in the way that I felt watching those scenes, was they were testing him. Because it's like, you've got 9 beautiful women in front of you who are all flirting with you, kissing you, getting naked with you.
having a ruddy good time.
And then his girlfriend, bless her, spent all evening just talking about him. And then she went to bed before anything happened. She got propositioned. She got asked if she would be interested in taking anything further by a lovely single guy who I don't think was used to being turned down. His face was a little bit shocked when she said, actually, I'm going to get off, because she wasn't feeling it.
Okay.
Which you don't sometimes. It doesn't matter how sexually charged the atmosphere is. And
not. Yeah,
sometimes you just don't feel it.
We've discussed this before, and sometimes as well you can get really upset that we've talked about getting in your own head.
Yeah.
And being in that situation, then you can ask yourself, well, what's wrong with me? You know, I'm surrounded with really beautiful people, sometimes naked. And I mean, bless her, if it's a first time doing anything at all, I could just imagine. I'm just kind of trying to put myself in that situation.
Well, bearing in mind, you think
That's like
about
mental.
I know. Think about it. You go into an unfamiliar venue that you've never been to before, surrounded by people that you've never met before,
that look like they're all off of Love Island.
Yes.
Yeah.
Creating an atmosphere that you haven't experienced with your other half, and so wouldn't have had those conversations of boundaries probably, or what if this happens, or what if that happens, or I'm not comfortable if I thought you were kissing another woman. And I mean, it's well documented on our podcast of how long it took me to feel comfortable seeing you with another woman.
Yeah.
So, and this is where I get really emotional about it, because as people know, V2V is very much geared up for newbies, and the fact that we take you under our wing and we kind of help you and ease you into the naughty hobby, and we're forever going on about communication is the key.
Going back to this story from Lily and Joe, so these are the residents on the show from Cambridge, and they said they lost count of how many orgies there were, and there's so much more than what you see on TV. What is shown for 30 seconds on TV might last 3 hours in real life. What happens off camera between the residents is 10 times that which gets aired, says Lily. They go on to say that Joe and Lily met 4 years ago on a dating app, but were monogamous for 2 years before experimenting. They loved it and soon became the village swingers in their local... I mean... Really? Really, Cambridge Live? They became the village swingers? Was one wearing a big Indian hat, and was Joe dressed up in leather like the village people? They became the village swingers. That's just like ridiculous. They're open and proud of it. Yeah, good for them.
Yeah,
good
absolutely.
For them. They applied for open house in May 2023 after watching the previous season. I'm stuck on swingers now. After watching the previous seasons and thinking it looked fun. Do you think it looks fun, Mrs. N?
Not in my opinion, no.
They were brought onto the show as residents. They had experience in non-monogamy. I can't say the word.
What is wrong with you?
They had experience in non-monogamy by the time filming began in summer 2024.
Okay, that's interesting.
Joe said, I actually forgot we'd applied. I've finished work and had 5 missed calls from production. We applied because we just wanted to have fun and found it exciting to be part of a TV programme we had always watched and enjoyed.
This is why I'm saying this is just my opinion. And yes, it is an entertainment programme.
Now, here's something, Mrs. N, that puts it into context.
Okay.
They spent 2 weeks at the retreat along with the other residents and new couples. Off camera, they were separated from the new couples, but the residents spent most of their time together living in the same houses. The couple said they established their boundaries before entering. So the residents obviously had already talked, but I mean, most of them have been in swinging for a while.
Yeah.
Very well experienced. They agreed everything was okay, apart from Joe having one-on-one time with a single other woman, or Lily alone with a single man. Joe said, before anything happens between anyone, you have the conversation about boundaries. Well, it doesn't show that, does it, on the TV?
And this is what gets me, because it's like you need. It's so important to show that side of it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because it can be a very very dangerous thing to get into if you don't communicate properly.
They say whether you're in a private club, a meet, or filming content, we've never been in a situation. Now there's a little tell, isn't it? Whether you're in a private club, a meet, or filming content.
Filming content, exactly.
So filming content isn't really a large part of the swinging lifestyle.
No.
That's something completely different. We've never been in a situation where you don't discuss boundaries first. Lily said, but our boundaries have changed over the time. We have since done things separately. They said the cameras are hidden when sexual scenes occur, so as not to ruin the mood. They said not all parts are aired. Lily said one scene I was in, the session was about 3 hours long. You see the spicy fun bits, but you only see about 30 seconds of it. It's not a porno, is it? You know, in fairness.
And the thing is, if you're only seeing a certain amount of time, only a few seconds, that doesn't come across as being hot and spicy and sexual and because you haven't got time to invest in it. Yeah,
to get into that sort of, Okay, it says the camera focused on me with Mark, but there wasn't one thing on the bed that wasn't happening. The camera focused on me with Mark. Our partner's Joe. Must be somebody else.
Okay.
It's just, I'm reading Cambridge's journalism. We don't know who Mark is. They just threw Mark in. I don't know who Mark is. The camera focused on me with Mark. Mark who? Now I need to know who Mark is. Mark, if you're there, message us, send us an email, naughtyczp1. There was girl-on-girl strap-ons, all sorts. The house has a selection of sex toys too. We don't know how things will be edited until it's shown on TV. Nobody does. That's the joy of being on TV.
Yeah.
They said they're open and proud about their swinging and were unbothered by their nudity and steamy scenes. Good for them. I actually wholeheartedly say that.
Yeah.
It was being broadcast to the nation. Both of their families knew what the deal was before filming the show at the request of Channel 4 and have been supportive.
Super. That's good.
We know other families that haven't been quite so supportive. We won't go down that avenue. Lily said, after the first episode aired, when I saw my mom the next day, I asked if she watched it. And she said she did. She said she was proud of how we came across. Proud of how she came or came? I misread that bit. I'll say it again. She was proud of how we came across and we seemed authentic and she loved it.
That's great.
Yeah.
And it's nice to actually get a bit of background information for somebody that's actually in it. But obviously what you watch as a viewer can come across a lot different.
And there's just certain terms in that journalism by Cambridge Live. You know, they became the village swingers. That's just like a thing of ridicule.
I know.
To me, that's not like the Spectator's piece talking about the other thing about the posh house being hired out for swinging parties. That was a more pro piece on the naughty hobby.
Yeah, and I think this is why I get a little bit frustrated with Open House, because I don't think it particularly portrays it in a very positive way.
You've got that element where people are broken again.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just like, how many times can TV production companies do the thing where we send people in, they're a little bit broken, and then we'll send in an expert and they'll fix all your problems and then you'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the second couple that were on that episode were a young couple that had been together since they were teenagers.
Okay.
Never slept with anybody other than each other. And his wife wanted to pursue her bi-curious side. She'd always thought about it, and she wanted to know if she was bi-curious or not, or if it was just something in her head. And to me, they were a very switched on couple, especially the husband. He was very much, you know, even if we just come in and socialise for the next 10 years, if that's what we do, that's what we do.
Yeah.
Which is the sort of thing that we say to newbies when they come to our events. If you just want to come and socialise, you just come and socialise.
No matter what happens, if they've been together forever, and that's going to be like a monumental thing in their relationship.
Yeah, huge.
The first time she does something, or even if she decides however far to go down that avenue, that's something, you know, they are an item, they are a unit, they are a pair, a couple.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing that they need to discuss before anything happens.
Absolutely.
So what happened there?
So they went to see the therapist or the expert, whoever she was. It came across that she felt that he made decisions for her, because I think he was more outgoing. She was quite shy.
Is that something that they said, or is that something that the TV production crew wanted you to?
No, the expert actually came out and said that she wanted the wife to speak for herself. She felt like he was speaking for her, and he apologised. Said, "Oh, I don't mean to do that." He says it's just sometimes when she's in a situation, she's very shy. I'll say something and it helps her to sort of come out of her shell a little bit. So it's more of an encouraging thing rather than a controlling thing. But the expert didn't particularly like it. So I felt like that she'd put a seed there just by saying that between them, because then the husband was very much like, I'm not controlling in any way.
I think for a guy as well, for a guy to come across or to be portrayed as controlling to a woman, that's a really ugly thing.
It is. So the expert's advice was, because what they wanted to do is the wife wanted to explore her bi-side. They wanted to introduce a woman into their dynamic. So the husband was included in this. It wasn't just going to be the wife and another woman.
Yeah.
It was going to be almost like a threesome. So the husband was also getting something out of it. So they'd obviously talked about what it was that they wanted as a couple, and they wanted to introduce another woman into their dynamic.
Which they've been together forever. It's going to be a big thing.
Massive thing. I mean, like I say, they were been together since they were teenagers, never slept with anybody other than each other. So, and he wanted her to explore her bi-side and find out if she was bisexual. But it was always going to be the two of them sharing the experience. When they went to see the expert, because she felt that the husband was talking for the wife, she decided that she wanted them to socialise separately and give the wife an opportunity to find her own way. So that's what they did. They both felt weird about it because they've never done anything without each other. So they were in the same room.
Yeah. The thing is, we have been in a situation where we have been involved in filming television programs.
Yeah.
And you know what it's like to have a production crew. I'm going to use the word guide.
Yes. Guide
you. How did you feel when you were guided on a television program?
It's quite forceful when they guide you.
I mean, obviously we don't know anything about Open House behind the cameras because we've never been there, and want to make that quite clear. But we do have experiences of being involved in recording television programs.
Yes, what happens behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But the way I am viewing Open House is like any other person that's watching a TV programme. Obviously, I have more knowledge about the naughty hobby, so I understand a lot of it. But there's a lot of people out there that don't. And if they're seeing this programme for the first time and this is what they think the naughty hobby is like...
Yeah.
This is where I get a little bit frustrated.
I think most people now, though, are really switched on, and they know that what comes out of the little black box or the great big flat box these days. Most people have got like 70-inch TVs on the wall. They know most of it is bullshit.
Yeah.
Most people are switched on, and, nobody believes anything these days.
Well, this is true. But it was an interesting watching their evening unfold. So... she got talking to some women. She is incredibly shy, and she was struggling with it a little bit. She did feel a little bit overwhelmed, and then she met back up with her husband and they had a chat.
But bear in mind, those people weren't spontaneous newbies.
No.
They were the residents who had already been in the house probably for a couple of weeks. And these are people that by their own admission, want to be on the television.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the only way you're going to get on the television is by interacting with the newbies. And you know that.
Yeah.
So if you want camera time,
Yep.
play up to the newbies. Let's be honest.
Exactly.
Nobody in their right minds is not going to know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're in like a disco environment. It was
Disco, was it 1970s?
No.
Big bush. I'm obsessed with the big bush.
Actually, it was 80s. They were all dressed up in 80s.
Still a little bit of bush.
So the husband was chatting to two very beautiful girls, one side of the room, and his wife had got chatting to these other two girls. And they were very much guiding the conversation. Again, you could see how shy she was. And in it, a lot of her responses were just, yes, that was it. Until she sort of then got her confidence up a little bit.
But we were like that the first time we went into a club.
Oh, absolutely.
We stood at the end of the bar with like our little nails dug into the bar going, oh Christ, what have we done?
But it was interesting because the husband was obviously watching her from across the room, and all of a sudden it went from 0 to 100 really quickly, and she starts kissing this other woman, and her husband was a bit like, whoa, that was fast. I don't think he was ready.
Yeah.
Well, he definitely wasn't ready to see that happen. She was obviously very comfortable with it and he was enjoying it. She was smiling and they were having quite a giggle. And he openly admitted he wasn't sure how he felt about it.
But don't you think that 9.5 guys out of 10 would be in exactly the same situation? You just wonder how much of that is contrived.
I know.
They've deliberately put him in a situation where he can see. To me, that's not separating. They've put him in a situation where he can see what's going on,
Yeah.
but can't actually interact.
No.
And then she obviously kisses the girl, and it's. And surprise, surprise, I'd imagine the cameras were zoomed in on his face.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fairness, the girls that he was talking to, they were really genuinely lovely. And they were actually talking, because he was talking about his wife a lot. And so they were actually asking questions about his wife, and they were asking him, how did he feel? And, you know, she looks like she's finding herself, that she looks like she's enjoying herself, that kind of thing. And he literally looked shell-shocked. He really didn't know how to react to it. And then the next thing is you see her go off with these two women into one of the little... It wasn't a yurt. A yurt. It was...
I'm off to my yurt.
Yeah, it was... Well, was it a yurt? It might have been a yurt, I don't know. But she went off with these other two while he was talking to these other girls, turned round and she disappeared. And he was like, well, where's my wife gone? And... I think one of the girls said, oh, I think she's gone off with the two girls that she was with. And he was like, really? So it came across that she hadn't even communicated to him that she was going off with these other women.
And so at that point, you are in a situation which is 1,000 times worse than I'm going to call real life.
Yeah.
Because you are being filmed, you're in the middle of a television production, and... you've been put in a situation, and you have been put in a situation. You've not accidentally got yourself into this situation. This is a contrived situation with people who are experienced, know exactly what they're doing. They're there for TV time. And I think it's almost cruel. A
little bit. And I think that's why I get so upset over it, because it was just like, but that wouldn't normally happen. I try and think of it in what I would call a normal club environment.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact if I put me and you in that position, I know for a fact that the first thing we would do is we would speak to each other before anything went on.
Yeah, but that's because we've got how many years of experience? We've got almost like 9 years of going to clubs.
I know.
We would be in that situation now. And the other thing is as well, we've got experience of being in TV production things. So, but to join those two together, you know what it's like when you're first on the set of a TV thing, it's pretty intimidating.
Yeah.
You've got cameras, you've got production, you've got everything around you, and you feel a duty, don't you?
You do.
To go along with it,
and also, like you said, you get guided. A lot of it is scripted.
In our case,
it was scripted.
It was incredibly scripted.
Yeah,
and again, that was portrayed as a spontaneous. It was an entertainment program. I don't want to go into details of it. If you want to message me, I'll tell you, but I'm not telling you what now.
No, please don't.
I don't want my ass sued up. But it was a spontaneous, meant to be, it was a reaction. It was supposed to be a spontaneous reaction to something, and it wasn't. It was all scripted.
Yeah, but it's made to look like it's a spontaneous thing. It bursts the bubble a little bit when you see behind the scenes.
And those couples have been very meticulously chosen for those TV programmes. They will have, as I said, they will have been through production, they will have been interviewed, they will know exactly what the problems are, which is why the two couples are put together on the same episode.
Yeah.
So you've got, this different dynamic. And I just think it's a little bit cruel. I don't even think it's a little bit. I think it's actually just cruel.
Yeah. Well, the rest of their story was that he then said, well, I need to up my game. And it was almost like, well, she's gone off to do something, so I need to go off and do something, which, again, is not the right attitude to have.
Not tit for tat, no, absolutely not.
He went off to the hot tub with the two girls, couldn't get his wife out of his head. You could clearly see he was just preoccupied with it. Nothing was going to happen with the two girls, and in the end he decided to take himself off and go off to bed. And then you see him lying on the bed, literally restless. He can't sleep. He's waiting for his wife to come back, which she did eventually. And then
did they show anything of her action?
Yes, they did with the other two girls.
So what happened there?
So they had a threesome. They did a triangle thing where they were all licking each other out, and they were bigging her up massively, saying that she's definitely
an experience that presumably they wanted to have together for her to see if she got by side, and they can never ever take that away.
No,
the TV production have put them in a situation, because let's just go back and remind ourselves. You said to me that they felt a little bit uncomfortable being separated.
Yes.
And then they go off, and I know it's all free will, and if she had have, stuck to boundaries and things, but you just wonder how much TV production creates that journey that they're put on.
It came across to me, and as I said to you before we came on air, it almost shows them in a really selfish light. So like the couple before, where the girl said, I'm not sure how I'd feel about seeing him kiss another girl.
Yeah.
And then they show him kissing 9 different women. And it's like, well, if he knows that she's not comfortable with that, but he's then gone off and done that, then that's a completely selfish thing to do.
But you've been interviewed, and you know that they've, again, in your circumstance, now I'm not comparing the programme we were on to Open House, but you have been interviewed, and that interview didn't stop until they got
what they wanted.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I've watched plenty of episodes of Open House, and I totally understand what you mean when you say that it makes people look selfish.
Because it did. It made her look like she didn't really care about him. She was more interested in just finding out if she was bi. And the whole conversation that they had beforehand about it was about the three of them completely went out the window, and she just got what she wanted. And that's how it comes across. And that's the bit that it's just like, and that's what I don't like about the programme. Because they don't show the fact that, yes, they probably did have a conversation beforehand, or they've talked extensively about where they want it to go and what they want it to do. But how it's been edited, as we know, because it makes more interesting telly, it's just, it's that bit that really upsets me, because it's like, that isn't honest.
Whilst you're sitting talking, Mrs. N, I'm literally looking on the internet
Oh, you weren't just ignoring me then?
No. I'm literally looking. As you know, Joe Rogan has Jamie, where he goes, Jamie, just put. We don't. I have to sit here and tap whilst I'm on, and I'm just looking at to see if there's any previous couples. If you've been on Open House, please send us a message. You can send us a message. You could do it anonymously. You could tell us what your experience of it was. Perhaps it was a far more positive experience.
If you'd like to come on the podcast and talk about it, that would be amazing.
Absolutely amazing. There's a couple here that I think this is from about 2022, and they are Nathan and Maddie. And they said that, again, they were portrayed, they wanted a first threesome. But Nathan, I think, felt left out. Nathan told Maddie, "You've made my first experience a bad one. You purposely made me feel like a spare part."
I've watched that episode.
Your biggest fear about being the odd one out. He's got a little blonde streak in his hair. He's got curly hair.
I remember the episode, yeah.
You've put that on me, causing Maddie to leave the room crying, which, I'm kind of doing that dramatically, but yeah, it's not nice. The situation became worse with Nathan admitting he wasn't sure if the relationship was right for him anymore. Yeah, but that's because he's been put in a really intense situation. I know everybody's got freedom of choice, and there'll be people probably screaming at their speaker listening to this going, yeah, but they don't have to go on it.
No, that's true. But I think if anybody that's in the naughty hobby would be very honest at their very first experience, it's almost like taking a leap of faith, because neither of you have got any idea how it's going to go. And it basically could ruin your relationship. It's a big step to take.
The only thing it says here is, since the show, Nathan and Maddie have joined an online dating app and continued having threesomes, saying they are stronger than ever. Open House, the sex experiment, airs on Channel 4 on Friday, April the 1st. That's obviously 2022. But yeah, I was just looking to see if couples had kind of come out to the press since. But I suppose you don't know what NDAs have been signed,
exactly.
Which often you have to sign these things.
Yeah.
So if anybody does want to send us a message anonymously, you can do.
Please do, yeah. I would be interested. And I have to reiterate, this is just my opinion and how I feel when I've watched the programme.
For me, I can't help but connect it to programmes like The X Factor. And The X Factor very, very quickly became, it was the most watched programme. Everybody loved it. And they focused on the people that, some of them had serious mental issues, and literally they were encouraged. That's the word that I'm looking for. They were encouraged to make fools of themselves on national TV.
Yeah.
And that programme, we went from a society that used to watch that and enjoy it, to suddenly going, hey, that's actually not cool. Yeah. And I'm not being like ultra woke or anything like that. It's just about having morals and just not being cruel to people. And so if you're encouraging people to be in an unpleasant environment, or an environment that we as experienced swingers know is a fucking stupid environment to put yourself in, then that's only literally being done for entertainment.
Yeah, exactly.
No more.
No.
And to big up the expert, to then say, okay, now come and I will teach you the right way. Yeah.
I mean, it gave you a clip of the following show, and all you see is the first couple, the girlfriend in absolute floods of tears, saying, I feel such a fool. You've embarrassed me. You've belittled me, and all this, that, and the other. And and it's just it's not nice to see. It's not nice to watch.
Yeah, and that's going to be on there forever.
Yeah, exactly.
That's going to be online forever.
Yeah, seeing him in a yurt shagging 9 other women, with
her literally in the next clip, crying her eyes out, saying, "What have you done to me?"
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not cool.
No. And then that's they're the issues that I have with the programme. But as an entertainment programme, people, it's like watching Naked Attraction. I mean, it's...
Yeah, but it's not, is it?
Well, no, that's true.
It's nothing like Naked Attraction, because Naked Attraction, apart from probably going, look at the size of that willy, Naked Attraction everyone's treated with respect.
Yeah.
If you want to go on the show absolutely naked, fair enough, cool. And that is a far more authentic to me presented.
Yeah, that's a good word for it. You're absolutely spot on. It's almost like it seems very true and very real to what you are watching.
You go on, they pick the one with the biggest willy. They say they don't, but they always do. They pick the one with the biggest willy, or, you know, the tidiest. You know what I mean? But they do. And, you know, joking apart, that seems to be a much more authentic dating programme.
Yeah.
And it's naughty and it's whatever.
Yeah.
But Open House, at what point, you know, are you watching that because it's a car crash? And as human beings, you know, we are addicted to drama. And everybody's addicted to drama. Otherwise, programmes like EastEnders wouldn't have had, you know, 16 million or however many viewers it had in its heyday. We're addicted to that continuous drama, and people watch it because it's like, oh shit, she's in floods of tears.
Yeah.
What a bastard.
Yeah.
You're all automatically making presumptions about what's happening. And as you've said, Mrs. N, that, you know, we don't know what is really happening. We don't know what boundaries have been set. And you just think to yourself, at what point will this programme become extremely unfashionable?
Yeah.
You know, when people, I don't know if Open House is as big enough like X Factor where, you know, it will get enough coverage to do that. But to me, I can link the two very closely, and you just think to yourself, at what point making a spectacle out of people is cool? Because to me, there's nothing entertaining about that.
No.
When you know what the naughty hobby is like in real life, the programme loses its entertaining value.
Yeah, that's true. You're absolutely spot on. And it's interesting, though, that there seems to be even more programmes coming out. I know Rylan is doing a naked dating programme now. I mean, I've not actually seen it. I don't know if anybody's ever watched anything of it. I don't know how true when it says naked dating, whether you're completely naked or whether there's something else going on there.
Yeah, that sex box as well.
Yes.
I vaguely remember sex box.
Which was a little bit disappointing, if I'm honest.
It's a bit weird. You go to the box, have sex, come out, go, well, that was good.
Yeah, exactly. You don't see anything. You don't hear anything.
No.
So.
But yeah, for me, I'm not a fan of Open House.
No, I'm not, unfortunately, and it's a shame because there's a huge opportunity there to bring the naughty hobby into the mainstream in a positive way.
But as we've said before, and when, for instance, when Liberty Elite was featured on Channel 4, Swingers, that documentary, the people on that documentary were not typical members of the club.
No.
Because the typical members of the club didn't want to be filmed.
Yeah.
so the only people you're going to get on there are people that are, you know, pursuing their own agenda, which is cool. I have got nothing against people, you know, publicising, making a few pounds out of it, getting exposure from it.
Yeah.
Literally exposure. But it's how it's portrayed.
Yeah.
And if it's detrimental at the cost of others, like the newbies and how they are portrayed, then that for me is a bit of an issue.
Yeah.
On that bombshell.
Yeah, so basically I've just had a good old whinge.
Channel 4, if you want to video us, send us an email.
Or not.
And Elon Musk will tear it up. We will be back next week.
We will be.
And we will see you, dear listener.
Yes, take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.